Okay, so I'm Patrick. I'm the leader of opposition, and this is my speech. Okay, so first off, I'm not entirely sure what your argument actually is, but from what I gathered, I'm pretty sure it's that we need to cut back on unnecessary items to save money, and that one of these unnecessary items is state, or I think it's also called standardized testing. You also mentioned that an estimated $1.15 trillion is being spent at all levels, quote unquote, each year. Is this for primary, secondary, or college level education, or just for primary and secondary? Um, so I understand your main points to be in this order. I'll refute them as I go. That tests cost money. Um, Yeah, they do, but I think maybe rather than cutting the standardized testing, that getting the federal government to fund them with more money would be reasonable. Also, you said that the textbooks cost money. Well, there's going to be textbooks regardless, and I mean, the standardized testing just tells the schools what textbooks to get. So, you know. And you also say that the funding issues interfere with other programs like music and arts. Well, I mean, that's a shame, but I think music and arts should be an extracurricular activity because it's not necessarily academic. I mean, it kind of can help socialize children or, just help them have something to do, but I don't think it's necessarily academic or therefore important. Um, Also, you said that it doesn't let teachers teach what they want, but it holds them accountable. I mean, if we let teachers teach what they wanted, I mean, we'd have schools with kids learning things, and there'd be no, I mean, completely different things at completely different schools with completely different teachers, and there would be no uniform standard for education in our country. You're saying teachers are leaving because of the tougher standards. Well, again, standardized testing holds the teachers accountable, and if teachers are leaving because of the higher standards, they probably shouldn't be teaching our future leaders. I mean, also say teachers don't have enough money for test prep materials, but again, I think that the federal government should step up and offer more funding to the schools for these programs. Additionally, at the end of your argument, you mentioned that you want to abolish state testing in order to stop, quote unquote, stop scaring people away from teaching. So, is your focus on education reform and keeping overabundant, overpaid teachers who don't want to teach higher standards employed, or is it just education reform? So moving on to my argument, quite frankly, I'm in favor of keeping standardized or state testing in schools for a whole slew of reasons. Okay, the first one is standardized testing holds teachers and schools accountable, as I said before. Probably the greatest benefit of standardized testing is that teachers and schools are responsible for teaching students what they are required to know on the tests. Um, this is primarily because the scores become public record, and teachers in schools who don't perform at the level that they should be performing at, uh, get a closer look and possibly pink slipped or fired. This scrutiny can lead to the loss of a job, as I just said, and in some cases a school can be closed or taken over by the state. My second main point, standardized testing allows students located in different schools, districts, and states to be compared. Without standardized testing, there's no standard to compare these students with. Uh, then my third main point is standardized testing is typically accompanied by a set of established standards or an instructional framework that provides teachers for guidance. In other words, giving them a curriculum. They don't have to make it themselves. Then without the structure, a third grade and a sixth grade teacher could be having the same content. And I mean, schooling, our material should progress in a set pattern as we go on in our schooling. And I mean, again, this curriculum established by the standardized testing kind of helps enforce that. Also, the guidance helps students who move from one district to another from being ahead or behind in their new school. Main point number 4 is that standardized tests are objective. Classroom grades given by a teacher are at the very least, minimally subjective in nature. Standardized tests are often scored by computers, at the very least scored by people who have no bias whatsoever. They are also developed by experts, and each question undergoes an intense process to remove bias, unlike questions that teachers create in a class to assess their kids, while they're watching Scrubs or something, for all I know. My last main point is that standardized tests provide accurate comparisons between subgroups. These subgroups can differ on ethnicity, socioeconomic status, special needs, etc. This provides schools with data to develop special programs and services directed at improving scores in these subgroups. Okay, so, and moreover, the $1.7 billion per year that standardized testing costs our country sounds pretty significant. However, when you consider that currently being at war costs nearly $300 million, 300 million taxpayers, according to census.gov, $11.26 million dollars per hour, this figure seems incredibly negligible. I mean, I think if anything, we could use some of the money we're spending towards war on our schools. I think that would be a pretty solid argument as well. But again, I'm arguing that standardized tests should be kept in schools. All right, thank you.